Do you struggle to be disciplined? Do you say that you're going to do something, like start a business, go to the gym, finish this university assignment, but then you never actually do it? You promise yourself the next day it's gonna be a different story. This time you'll get to work and you'll do exactly what you need to do. You won't procrastinate anymore. Tomorrow you'll wake up a different person, a disciplined version of yourself. But then guess what happens? The next day you wake up, you try to get started, to do some work, but for some reason you easily get distracted. You can't focus. The day flies by and it's already the evening. It's time to go to sleep. Yet you didn't really accomplish anything. So you start to blame yourself, to hate yourself. Now you start thinking that maybe you just can't be disciplined for some reason. That maybe you have some kind of inferior level of willpower. Let me tell you one thing. This is the last video you'll ever need to watch on discipline. Because when you're done, discipline will be completely effortless for you. Mark my words. So grab a notebook, a piece of paper, because the advice I'm going to share with you will change your life, just like it changed mine. A few years ago, I was at a really low spot in my life. I couldn't focus, I was depressed, I hated my life. I was trying to get up early, to go to the gym, to start my business, but I was too afraid to do it. I procrastinated every single day. In fact, for 7 months, I procrastinated starting the same business that changed my life. And if at some point I wasn't sick and tired of my current situation, I wouldn't have done the necessary work and I would have never been able to live this kind of life at only 21 years old. So my goal with this video is that you don't make the same mistake I did, that you don't waste 7 months of your life, or hell, who knows, it could be even more. It could be a year, 2 years, 3 years, and instead you finally become effortlessly disciplined. Because you might be looking at those people getting up at 5 a.m, sometimes at 4 a.m, going to the gym and crushing a workout, coming back home, eating a healthy, nutritious breakfast, and then crushing a 10-hour workday. And you look at that, and on the outside you think, well, those people, they must be superhuman. How could they ever do something like that? But let me ask you a question. What if this could be you? What if it could be effortless for you to do that? And more than that, what if you actually enjoyed it? The first thing that you need to do, if you truly want to become extremely disciplined, and that effortlessly, you need to set clear, tangible goals, not wishes. Because if there's one thing that I can guarantee, it's that if you have a very vague idea of what you want to achieve in life, your brain is not going to be able to come up with a viable strategy, a roadmap for you to execute on every single day to reach your goals. In your brain, you've got something which is called the reticular activating system. It's basically a network of neurons. Now you may be wondering why I'm speaking about this right now. After all, how is it relevant? Well, you see, the job of your reticular activating system is literally to filter out the information that you can consciously perceive to the information that you can't consciously perceive. And the reason why I say consciously perceive is because in reality, your subconscious mind is always awake. So every little bit of stimuli that comes from your environment, it's always picking up on it, whether you realize it or not. And even as you are sleeping, you are unconscious because your conscious mind is asleep, but your subconscious mind is always on. So what this means, in plain and simple English, and the reason why I'm bringing this up, it's because if you want to reach a goal, you need to program your brain to be able to do so. If you just say, oh, I want to get in shape, I'd like to make more money. Okay, that's nice, but that's not a goal, that's simply a wish. And wishes don't come true. Goals do, with hard work and perseverance. Because if instead, if you tell yourself, I'm going to make $100,000 a year every single year, and I want to do this before I turn, let's say right now you're 26, before I turn 28, I want to be making $100,000 per year. If you tell that to your brain, now your brain knows, okay, we have this clear, very specific objective, and we need to do everything in our power to achieve it. Because honestly, when you start to view your goals as a matter of life or death, you will be extremely surprised of what you can achieve. You'll be able to push yourself so much more than what you even thought was possible. If you've never tried to push beyond what you think are your limits, how do you actually know how far you could go? It saddens me to see most people with so much untapped potential, but they will never actually tap into that potential anyway because they're not bold enough to go and to push themselves hard. But unlike you've been told your entire life, in this world, freedom is not given, it is earned. So to be able to live this kind of life, to be free, to pick your own schedule, to travel whenever you want, you will need to roll up your sleeves and to get to work. Whether you want to get your dream job, to get into your ideal university, or if you want to start a profitable online business and become completely free, the road is not going to be easy. Now you also want to set a very clear time limit to your goal. And the reason why is because of Parkinson's law. Parkinson's law states that work expands so as to fill the time allotted for its completion. What this means is that the longer you allow yourself to take to finish a task, the longer it's going to take. If you say, oh, I have a week to do it, that's fine, I'll do it. It's gonna take a week, a whole week. Now if you say, okay, I'm gonna get this done today in just 2 hours, it's gonna take 2 hours. And the reason why this happens is because, again, we are very bad at estimating our maximum capacities. Plenty of studies have been done in sports, and they oftentimes found that athletes could do so much more, go so much further, do more reps than what they felt like they could do. But upon analyzing their bodies during exercise, what the researchers found is that clearly, physically, they were nowhere near their actual limits or being in danger physically. So like in the gym, unless unless you force yourself to do better, to do more reps, to lift more weights, or if you do cardio, unless you push yourself to either run faster or to run for a longer duration, then progress is not going to just magically happen by itself. You have to intend growth for it to happen. Now, one thing that will truly allow you to be effortlessly disciplined, it is to optimize your environment as much as possible for you to reach your goals. At the end of the day, most of us are not Navy SEALs. We are not trained to go through immense pain every single waking hour, every single day. So at one point or at another, with all of the temptations, all of the distractions that we have around us every single day, at some point, it's easy to slip back into our bad habits, into our destructive behaviors. Honestly, why do you think that most of the binge eating, binge drinking, or unhealthy snacking happens late in the evening, late at night? It's because after a long day of work, people simply don't feel like they have the energy to control themselves and to use willpower yet again. If you've ever tried to follow a diet, I'm sure you've been given this advice before. You've been told, well, just don't have it in the house. If you always binge eat on cereals, Snickers, or candies, don't keep them in the house. Or at the very least, put them in a pantry, hide them somewhere, out of sight, out of mind. And that's because human beings are typically lazy. I mean, if you don't believe me, answer this question. Why would it make sense for us to be programmed to run around and to waste the precious energy that is crucial to our survival? Yes, in the modern world, we mostly have access to food however we want, and in pretty much infinite quantities, at least for the majority of the population. But back then, back when we were hunter-gatherers, we didn't have that abundance, we didn't have a fridge, we didn't just wake up, grab some food and eat 3 square meals a day. We had to go and hunt, and if we couldn't find any meat, we couldn't kill any animals, we'd need to eat some berries, some leaves. We did what we could. And that is why if you truly want to quit a bad habit, either you need a very strong reason why you want to quit, and I mean in any case, you should have a very strong reason why you want to quit it. Because if your reason why is shaky, it's a bit vague, honestly, in just a matter of days, you're gonna slip right back into your old destructive behaviors. But environment optimization will truly change your life. If you want to focus, to get some stuff done, don't have your phone right next to your laptop. Even if it's turned off, your brain is going to see your phone. Your brain is smart. It remembers, oh, on that phone I have Snapchat, I have Instagram. So when you start to feel bored, you don't want to do the work, you'll just grab your phone, go on Instagram, on TikTok, and there you go, you've lost the day already. So you've got to be smarter than your own brain, because it might be sad to hear, but your brain could not care less about you reaching your goals. All your brain cares about is to help you to survive. Your brain does not really think long term. The prefrontal cortex, which is the part of your brain that logically makes sense of things, you know, it's the hyper analytical brain. It is the part of your brain that you use to make long-term plans, to make decisions. But guess what? That part of the brain is actually much more recent than the other part of your brain, which we often call the lizard brain. And that part of your brain, the so-called lizard brain, is the part that thinks short-term. It just wants to survive right now. And that is why we get addicted to things like social media, alcohol, video games, sex, porn, all that stuff, because the lizard brain doesn't realize these things won't help us to survive, and in fact, they will destroy our lives. But because those things are very recent, like I said, social media, TV, all that stuff, your lizard brain has no idea, and therefore, it falls for the trap. Now, one of the things, if not the thing, that seriously allowed me to become effortlessly disciplined, it was to turn my entire day into a set of routines. Now, I'm not just telling you to have a morning routine, or even a night routine. It goes much further than just that. The goal is to turn your entire day into a set of routines to follow. That way, you remove all of the decision-making processes from your daily life, and now you can just get to work, execute, get stuff done without having to think about it. Because oftentimes, when you feel like procrastinating, the more you think about getting started, the more you think about going out there and going to the gym, the less you actually want to do it. Now, don't get me wrong, you need to think. Before you execute on a specific strategy, you need to do a lot of thinking ahead. But then, when it's time to take action, you need to stop thinking. You need to just do it. A good routine is the key to success. Go ask any top athlete and they will tell you the same thing. I can guarantee one thing right now. It's that Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Michael Phelps, they would have never been able to win championships after championships if they did not follow a specific routine and stick to it for months and for years. When you follow a routine day after day, it becomes a habit. So after a few weeks, after a few months, you no longer have to think about it, to put a lot of conscious effort into going and actually doing the thing. Now it becomes something that you do on autopilot. Years ago, I decided I was going to complete a workout every single day, no matter what. The only exception being sick or an injury, or let's say I'm traveling all day and I really have no time. But the reason why I decided to do that at the time, it's because I knew that for me, it would be a lot easier to just build the habit to work out every single day, as opposed to working out 3 to let's say 5 times per week. Because on the rest days, it would have been easy to just let go of the good habits. If instead, I know I need to do it every single day, with certain days more intense than others, of course, to allow for proper recovery, then I don't have to think about it. I know no matter what happens, if I'm not sick, I'm not injured, I have the time, I'm gonna work out. So there are no excuses. And like I said, the first couple weeks might be hard, but then it becomes becomes a habit. And now if I don't exercise, I feel like something is missing, something is wrong. And that is the reason why every single day I complete a workout first thing in the morning. It's because years ago I built that habit. Now finally, to make discipline effortless, you need to understand this one thing. This is the key mindset shift that you need if you truly want to be able to become disciplined without any effort. You need to understand that discipline is not a punishment, it is not a chore, it's a reward, it's freedom. The truth is that reaching your goals is never going to happen overnight. That is what they sell you in the movies, in the media, but that is far from being what happens in the real world. If you never learn to discipline yourself, you'll wake up whenever, you'll do work only when you feel like doing it, you'll go to the gym only a couple times a month, if even, but then your entire life will just pass you by. On your deathbed, you'll look back at your life and you'll be extremely disappointed. And trust me, there is no worse feeling in the world than knowing you could have done so much more. You could have lived such a full life, but the only reason you didn't is because you were not willing to do what it takes. I mean, tell me this, don't you wish you had started 5 years ago, 10 years ago? Now you can't get back the time that you lost, but from this day forward, you can start to do the things that you need to do to reach your goals. And honestly, answer this question, who do you think is having more fun? The guy who wakes up at 10 a.m. every morning, he's depressed, he just spends all day playing video games, watching Netflix, eating some cheap junk food, and then during the rest of the week, he has to go to a job that he hates, he dreads that part of his day. The only thing he cares about is going back to his house, playing video games, and that's the same kind of life that he lives on repeat for all of his life. He looks at those people on social media, having fun, traveling, running profitable online businesses, but he's too afraid to start. Now compare that to the guy waking up at 6, going to the gym, then working on his business. After months and years of hard work, he finally becomes successful, and now he can live whatever kind of life he wants. He can travel whenever he wants, buy anything for his loved ones, and every single day he wakes up in a beautiful, peaceful environment, knowing that no matter what happens, should there be an injury, a car accident, a need for an expensive surgery, no matter what, he can afford it. That said, if you would like to discover what is the best online business to start for you, I've recorded a free guide in which I analyze every popular online business model. Together we take a look at the pros, at the cons, and I'm also going to share with you for completely free the 3-step process that you can use to get your first customers as quickly as possible. It's the first link in the description below. So if you apply all the tips I shared with you in this video, I am convinced that you will become effortlessly disciplined.